It's 5:45 p.m., which means it's time for BCTV's Nightly News Roundup. I'm Roland Boyden alongside Joseph Bushy, enjoying a look at a December downtown Brattleboro. You can see the lights up behind us there, Joe. I'm enjoying our time here in downtown. A jam-packed show for us today. We're going to try and pack it all in before we send you off to enjoy the regularly scheduled 6 o'clock news. But first, let's take a look at what's coming up on deck tonight. I'm curious to find out myself. Let's see here. Well, of course, that cell phone tower is all the hoo-ha. Joe, you were out there to take a look at some balloons they were putting up. We'll get the budget breakdown on the select board. They've got a meeting tomorrow coming up, and pickets continue at the retreat. That's just a sample of the many things we've got on deck for us here, so be sure to stick with us. 5:45 Live.
The whole family gathered their ears close to that old radio, and we heard FDR, and it was a pretty solemn night.
Welcome back to this December 7th, 2012 edition of 5:45 Live. I'm Roland Boyden alongside Joe Bushy. That was footage of an interview with Marlboro resident and World War II POW Richard Hamilton, talking about his memories of the night of Pearl Harbor, those attacks now 71 years ago today. That was when the United States Naval Base at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, was victimized by a surprise attack from the Imperial Japanese Navy. And thus, this is now Pearl Harbor Day, almost 3/4 of a century and dozens of wars later. Joe, thank you for joining me at the desk. A solemn note to start the show. We do have plenty of news coverage coming up for you. That full interview will be in our featured category at BrattleboroTV.org and our video on demand. A fascinating interview talking about his time, Richard Hamilton, as a prisoner of war. All right, moving on, Joe. Cell phone tower, a balloon test. That's all the buzz, and I'll let you launch into it, so take it away.
Very good. Well, we'll start in Newfane, where controversy surrounding the proposed construction of a new AT&T cell phone tower has the town all abuzz. Today, citizens concerned with the tower's impact on Newfane's scenic vista got a chance to see, in addition to the skyline, 13 stories above the trees. As members of Corona & Associates Design, the team behind the tower's construction, held their balloon test, set to measure the range from the proposed height of the tower. We'll have a clip coming up in a second from Roland here, but I can tell you that I was out there today looking for that balloon test myself. It took me about 45 minutes driving around before I could get to one spot where I could see that weather balloon up 130, 135 feet up.
Now, you did hear one resident, Joe, compare it to some party balloons, but as we'll see in this next, more in-depth clip, I think they were anything but those, or as you said...
some pretty big party balloons.
Here we go.
I'd like to see that party.
We're not unsensitive to aesthetics. The reason that this location was picked is because we need to be close enough to the people and close enough to where there's existing sources of communications and power so that we can hit as many people as possible. We're willing to consider other locations at this meeting from either the select board or other people in the town of where they'd like to see it from. But for the moment, our focus is going to be from the trailhead of the Newfane Town Forest, as well as from Laura's Lookout, which is, one of the highest points along the trail.
Several alternatives have been suggested that are miles and miles away. So that might be a great spot because there's nobody there, but it's not going to accomplish what AT&T is trying to do, which is trying to provide service in a particular area.
Residents have split over the tower's construction, with arguments ranging from aesthetic concerns to matters of public safety, and with the mass loss of landline communication during Irene still fresh in residents' minds. Many feel that cell phone coverage for Newfane residents is a necessity, not a luxury.
All those Newfane Select Board meetings can be viewed, again, BrattleboroTV.org. We're right on the right-hand side of the screen. There's a watch local shows on demand, or video on demand. You can even skim ahead. It's been taking up the bulk of the last 3 Newfane Select Board meetings, which are all available to take a look at there. I want to talk about all the happenings at the Brattleboro Retreat, but first, a special budget meeting will be held tomorrow in this 230 Main Street Municipal Center, just up the street where BCTV resides, where we're beaming back from downtown. That's in the Select Board meeting room on the second floor. The Select Board will be there with Town Manager Barb Sondag and Finance Director there to talk about, among other things, $785,000 was, I believe, the number I read in the Reformer money they've got to go scrounging around and look for in the budget. All the public is welcome to attend this meeting again tomorrow, 8 to noon. Here's Dick DeGray talking about this very issue.
The board has some heavy lifting to do on Saturday, and not that budget meetings are supposed to be fun, but they have become more difficult as I have progressed in my 7 years on the board.
Dick DeGray talking about tomorrow's meeting. All right, Joe, time to talk Brattleboro Retreat and all the happenings there. For that, I'll turn you loose.
Despite an all-day session with the Brattleboro Retreat administration and union members that yielded reports of significant progress that could lead to a settlement as early as next week, tensions remain high. BCTV volunteers caught up with Jack Kalachi, Director of Collective Bargaining and Organizing for the United Nurses and Allied Professionals Local 5086, the union that represents retreat employees, as workers again today marched their picket lines in front of the institution's classic architecture.
The administration is really good at giving lip service to excellence and innovation and quality care, but they want to get it on the cheap.
If excellence is expected, then we need to be able to staff it for excellence.
They have probably the most radical and drastic contract demands that this union has ever seen.
I'm on the negotiating team. Name is Sean Whelan. We're just here in supporting of the patients, the safety, staffing safety. That's what we're here for.
All right, moving on. Governor Shumlin announced that in lieu of an inaugural ball, he plans to host a fundraiser for victims of Irene. Still plenty of work to be done. On that note, I'll let him talk about why he's throwing a fundraiser instead of a party.
Instead of the inaugural ball.
Every Vermonter is invited to join us in the State House for this event. We know that we need to raise $10 million to make Vermonters whole, to get Vermonters not back to where they were, but at least into housing, into a more stable situation.
Well, we're checking in with Representatives, Joe. Let's talk Bernie for a moment, and for that, I'll turn you loose on it once more.
Next, at a Capitol Hill news conference held yesterday, Senator Bernie Sanders told reporters he is preparing to do whatever it takes to block a proposed Federal Communications Commission rule change, which would allow media conglomerates more freedom to monopolize broadcast and print media, something Sanders described as just another battle in the war between the American people and big business.
Courtesy of his YouTube channel went up just hours ago. Let's take a look.
We cannot live in a vibrant democracy unless people get divergent sources of information and have the opportunity to hear a serious debate about the major issues facing our country.
You can follow along Bernie at Senator Sanders, all one word, his YouTube channel. All right, move on, and for that, Joe, I'll hop in the close-up, the driver's seat here. We'll talk about the Battle of the Bands. Now, this was held in the River Garden this past month, and our longtime, hardworking BCTV volunteer and 545 Live senior news correspondent Maria Dominguez was there to catch up everybody on all the action, all the local groups, some really incredible music that'll show next week on BCTV. In addition, she caught up with Youth Services Executive Director Julie Davidson about the community's impact on its youth and their impact on the community. Let's roll that clip here as well.
Battle of the Bands is an event that we've done for several years for area youth, and it gives them an opportunity to showcase their talents, and it's highlighted during an arts event, Gallery Walk.
There you go. Some really fantastic groups to take a look for next week when that goes up, not only on our channel but on our video on demand, even in HD. I'll just throw out there for everybody that's cares to take a gander. All right, Joe.
That last band in the clip was Snaz, by the way. They're the ones that won the contest down there at the Battle of the Bands. I caught them previously at the marina. I think the oldest one is 14, and they're fantastic. Catch them if you can.
As I was looking over Maria's shoulder as she dabbled in the editing there, I was mightily impressed myself. Thought it was worth a clip. A few more notes before we wrap up here. Let's see what the high school has to say about the weekend's weather.
On Saturday, we have a high of 43 and a low of 32, and on Sunday, a high of 40 and a low of 34. There will be clouds and maybe some rain, but probably not any snow. But did you know that in the Netherlands, there is snow on the ground, and here in Vermont, where we're supposed to have, we're known for our winters, we don't have any. So it's not quite fair, but doesn't look like there's going to be any snow.
You can catch BUHS TV, their morning news advisory program, weekdays, excluding Wednesdays when they take a well-deserved break. But Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, you can catch it at 10:15 a.m., 2 clicks up the dial on our government and education sister channel, Channel 10. There's the spiel on that one. Time ticking down here, Joe. Let's talk about a few more things going on in the area, including NEYT's production of Annie. That's going to run from December 6th through the 16th with performances on Thursdays and Fridays at 7 p.m., Saturdays at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m., and Sundays at 2 p.m. Now, this is all part of the Every Day is a Holiday in Brattleboro fundraiser. Promotional series from Building a Better Brattleboro, urging local residents to do their shopping in downtown and enjoy this holiday season in this area. BCTV longtime producer Frederick Noyes has been trekking around to catch all their events with a camera, including rehearsals for Annie. Let's take a look.
This is our holiday show for 2013, and it's a great place to come and take your family. It's a great town to visit and come in and do your shopping.
There are a lot of good songs and really fun dances, so it's really fun. This is my first show at NEYT, so I'm really excited.
Really all we have left to do before we wrap up, Joe, is I want to take a moment to promote a few things coming up on BCTV, including the latest installment of First Wednesdays, which is the lecture series produced by Brooks Memorial Library and filmed by Maria Dominguez. And it's now made the jump, the upgrade into HD for those people watching on the web, so I'm particularly excited for that, the latest one.
He drove across America, and he kept saying to people like the BBC, I really want to be a film critic, and I could write about American film for you. And they'd say, not really, thanks a lot, whoever you are,
And in addition, the newest live call-in program, not a lot of live programs kicking around on Monday nights, but we've got one now, 6:30 p.m. You can tune in to Let's Talk About Mental Health. This is a program where you can call in if you have questions, concerns with either yourself, family members, loved ones, friends, concerning mental health and addiction issues. I've been had the pleasure of being behind the scenes there for what's proved a truly fantastic show on a very important, very prevalent subject.
We sometimes suggest to people that they take medication because it's making a mess, and we want them not to make, you know what I mean? Like, take your meds. Yeah. But for the person taking the meds, they don't feel good on them. Right. Or they don't feel right, or they feel something wrong, or they feel, even that idea, side effects, makes it sound like, well, it's just something on the side. But it's not. It's how you feel about yourself.
All right, thanks, Joe, for joining me at the desk after a long day of balloon hunting. We're going to be back Tuesday with another live broadcast as we gear up for this holiday season. We're going to be sprinkling in some of the Christmas specials. In the meantime, I'm Roland Boyden, so thanks for joining us, everybody.